told Dad he couldn't write down the cars at the car show this weekend. I was like, stop, don't do that. We can read your stuff.
I kicked myself even harder for getting stuck working that day because I was on my way home and some of the car show cars were leaving. So I was passing on the highway going, I wanted to look at that. I wanted to look at that.
Don't leave that.
The late 50s Thunderbird. I really wanted to look at.
You're on the camera now.
I saw both of them on the highway and I was kicking myself.
Jason, if you want to look at the Thunderbird, I got a 66 out there in that shed you can look at.
I will come look at that.
That, that whole panel looks like an aircraft panel.
My wife is sitting behind you, saying no.
Oh, it's something that's going to be inherited.
that are in pieces all over the place.
This one's intact. The only thing it needs is a transmission fix. But it's not for sale. It's Joe's.
That's good.
I'll probably have to bury him in it. Him and his ashes. Oh, that's an idea.
Off a cliff.
That's what Thelma and Louise drove.
There it is. I think it is.
66 Thunderbird.
Is that right?
I think it was.
This one's got a red bottom and a black top. One of those
Vinyl top.
That's what it was. It does have some barbed wire injuries from when a certain somebody drove it through a barbed wire fence.
That happened.
He was 14 at the time.
I was actually I've got a 75 F-250 extended cab that I bought from a guy that I was working down in Emporia at the time, and just on a whim I had seen a sign on my way home one day from work, and it was for a yard sale. So I just turned down this gravel road to go look because I was killing time on my way home. On the way by, I had seen an extended cab mid-70s F-Series for sale. So I went and I looked at the yard sale and I came back and talked to that guy, and he said the truck that was in the driveway when I drove by were the people that were buying that one. But he knew where another one was.
Oh.
So he took me to his father-in-law's house.
Oh, there you go.
So I bought the one from the father-in-law, and then I was working. He had a 66 Thunderbird convertible. That the convertible top hadn't worked in decades, and he'd had it in like 3 different shops trying to get it fixed. And I think I hunted just for wiring diagrams for that for probably 2 years.
Oh.
And I finally found all the wiring and stuff for it, and the old man passed away. So I gave it all to his son, who had just retired, and he was in the process of finishing restoration on the Thunderbird.
That's nice of you.
Yeah. I'm like, it took me forever to find these. You need them.
When you get to heaven, they're gonna let you drive away in that car.
I'd be all right with it. It was a nice car. He had some cool cars. He had an old Cadillac with the big horns on the hood, and he had the 66. He had a 49 Mercury, all parked in his garage in the back. And then he had like this little lean-to barn with a 75 sitting in it. And I got this 75 home that's sitting in Dad's
I was
pasture.
raised with a 57 Chevy. Dad bought a 55, and then his father-in-law was a car salesman, and he said, you need to buy this 57. The engine in it is a monster,
Can we turn on?
which I can attest to, because I drove it.
We have enough for a forum, so let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time we'll have a roll call. Annie,
Yes.
Michelle, Brett, Jason,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
There you go.
and Brett.
I'd like to add myself to the agenda as a department report for the park.
Is that a motion?
No, I just wanted to add myself, and then I can do that if I was waiting
You're
on
fine.
anybody else. Move to adopt the agenda with that change.
I will second it.
Motion to approve the agenda with the addition of Annie Compton and department report on the park, seconded by Tim. Further discussion, comments? Those in favor? Approved. At this time, we need to open to the public, the budget hearing. Need a motion on that, Todd?
Not to open it, you can just declare it to be open.
Whether or not declare the budget hearing for the amendment of 2024 budget is now open. Any comments, questions, concerns from the public? Either seeing or hearing any, this is now closed.
We need a motion to close the hearing and then
I move to close the hearing.
I'll second.
Motion by Tim to close the hearing, seconded by Annie. Further comments, questions, concerns? Those in favor? Okay.
go ahead and
I had a couple of minutes corrections. On page 2, the lake permit contract. Sorry, this is so hefty. I think it says A. Compton stated we do have records of the complaints. I think I said we don't have records. So I was on the phone though, so it's probably not very clear later on.
So
either.
we don't. Okay.
And then under housing authority on the 3rd page, there's an incomplete sentence. 3rd line from the bottom, it says he also C. Camblin is appointed. So I think it's just not. It's missing a word or two maybe, but it
Okay.
just didn't it wasn't clear what it meant. I think it's he would also like C. Camblin.
Yeah,
Also?
something's
Yeah,
missing
it's
there.
for
All
it was
right.
yours.
Yeah, I'll
Brett.
have to check.
Do you know where I'm
that.
at? The housing authority. Right here.
Maybe it's if C. Campbell's appointed, he'll be added as long as.
Yeah,
you know.
that's what it's supposed
Okay.
to be.
Okay, I just want to make sure because it wasn't a clear one. And then the very last motion on the back page, the fall festival is October 26th. T. Lines moved, second by M. Jacko to donate a turkey for that, and then it ends. So that's pertinent detail.
I
We probably
remember
need-
that. I was trying to find out what it was going to be called, and I never went back to it for the turkey. And Dolly? What was that turkey?
Drawing.
It was just a drawing for the turkey
It
drawing.
was a turkey drawing.
Okay,
Where's that on the?
it's like the last sentence, almost the last sentence.
Right before the adjournment.
Hmm?
Right before the adjournment.
It was turkey drawing. Sitting my little large.
Okay,
Turkey drawing. I don't know if you want the business information in there.
I did.
Well, I'm going to list, I'm gonna put in the paper what businesses donated, plus who won the turkeys.
Awesome.
I had one person put down her name as Horsefelt, Horse Run. I think it was a joke that they won a turkey, so if they show up with a ticket that fits the number, you're gonna get the good joke. Yeah, horse something.
That's all I have. I don't know if anybody else has any.
And horse.
Did you move to approve them or just make corrections?
I was making corrections.
Making
Does
corrections.
anybody else have any before I?
I do not.
Anybody, if nobody has one, somebody make a motion to accept the changes.
I move to approve the October 14th minutes with those corrections.
I will second it.
Okay, motion by Annie to approve the minutes of October 14th with changes as stated, seconded by Tim. Those in favor?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't here.
We have not voted on passing the amended budget.
I started to ask that question if we're supposed to vote to pass that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to that.
Right.
First of all, let's get that approval of the minutes was approved 3-1.
Well, one abstention.
Yeah.
No.
One. Yeah, got one. I got it. Okay, let's go back a step to the budget. We need to approve the budget as a city council.
I'll move to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, motion to approve the amended budget for 2024 by Tim, seconded by Annie. Questions, comments, concerns? Those in favor? Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Appropriations?
I'll move to approve the appropriation ordinance, number 1524. Excuse me.
I'll second that.
Motion by Tim to approve the appropriation ordinance 1524, seconded by Jason. Further comments, questions, concerns? This will be a roll call vote. Annie,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes. Are we gonna have minutes from our last meeting to approve, read over
The work session?
the meeting?
No, I don't think it has minutes.
No, no,
Okay,
we haven't.
sometimes we do.
You didn't take any action, I assume, right?
No.
No.
It was just a work session.
I move adjourn.
Okay, at this time, public concerns or comments. Richard, I know you have something, so go ahead.
It's a comment, not a concern. I wanted to let the council know that our new group envisioning Eskridge did meet last Wednesday night. That's not news to three of you at the table because you were at the meeting, but we did get get it kicked off. Stephanie M. Thurn from Economic Development was there, and we had 12 to 14 people in attendance at the senior center. And the first meeting was, as much as anything, Stephanie telling us about some of the grant monies that are available, and then brainstorming what Eskridge downtown, Eskridge Main Street improvement could look like, and what Eskridge needs. And then
My bad.
You're right.
I thought I turned it off. Sorry, guys.
And then Brett told us about a survey that's being done by the Housing Authority that will, I'm sure, give us some additional information as to what the residents want. We're going to try and meet once a month. The next meeting is November 20th at Senior Center at 6:30.
Anything else? Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Dolly, did you have something?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to make sure I turned my phone off.
Okay.
Let's see. I even have some of it written down. I know that I expressed my displeasure with the executive session that was called at the last meeting, and I can understand why it was called. It was on an independent contractor, which I felt should have been public, but the attorney said that you could go into an executive session to talk about the contracts, and so that's the opportunity that you took. You were having a discussion about the bait shop. Oh, this is Dolly Mercer speaking, if anybody wants to know and hold me accountable. I understand why you didn't want to talk about that in public. A lot of it was embarrassing. A lot of the things that I have been told in my position as friend of the lake and friend of people in Eskridge, and they share things with me, and I have that honor. This is things I would have said that night if I'd been given the opportunity. I didn't realize I needed to jump in quickly. I was kind of taken aback by what was said. I thought about it this week, and I've decided that I want my words on the record. I understand that it's hard and embarrassing to say the things that we needed to say about Julie and what she did out there at the bait shop. I know it's hard to have my friend be a drunk and be unable to rouse her because she is in that shape. And I know, and I am going to say this. I know it's embarrassing for the employees to have to empty a pee bucket at the end of their shift or at the beginning of their shift. And they felt that they didn't need to be doing that. And I did encourage them actually to complain. And I'm sorry that they didn't come and complain to you. I usually direct everything back to either the council or you, because I know I don't have the authority to do anything. I don't direct them back to him, but I'm not worried about you. Just telling you that. I think I told you that the other night. She left her personal items for them to empty the trash, and that's where they were at, and that was unfortunate. There was a gentleman that he's from Eskridge that went out there with his family, and she got out of the car, feet on the ground, and went inside. It's something that's not acceptable at all. This behavior that I saw from my friend is not something that she used to do in the past. I know she's kind of frisky, and it's unfortunate that these events happen. But I think that for her own sake, she needs to be accountable for, and you all need to appoint the person that will do the best job out there and represent the city. And so this is me telling you that I disagree with Mr. Luckman and what the advice that he gave you. I felt that you went into that meeting and you probably discussed these things, but I understand why you would have been embarrassed to discuss them in public. But seeing as how I asked nobody to tell me anything about what was said at that executive minute, I don't want them to get in trouble. And but I used to be in those executive sections with these very people, and I know how brutal it can be. And I'm done. I should have said that last week, but I didn't feel like I had the opportunity. Thank you for giving me the time.
Okay,
Here we go.
thank you, Dolly.
Yeah.
So, thank you for letting me speak. I'm addressing council tonight as a citizen. I'm not on the clock. During the meeting on Monday, the 21st of October, while talking about the city clerk, Council President Wine stated, "We have a full-time person doing a part-time job." Mayor Cook seemed to agree with that statement and certainly didn't disagree. That may be your opinion, and you're certainly entitled to it. My opinion is that if you actually believe that that clerk's job can be done correctly and professionally with a part-time person, you're foolish. But that's not what I wanted to address tonight. His comment clearly shows the lack of value Councilman Wines places on the clerk, and it perfectly highlights the complete and total lack of respect that some of the current City of Eskridge administration seem for its employees. One after the other, employees have been disrespected, belittled, talked down to, and subjected to personal, unprofessional comments. The number one thing a leader should be doing is to develop their people. You do this by building relationships, communicating clearly, and leading by example, which drives the results that you want. That people first mentality empowers employees to be the best they can be, which in turn produces the best outcome for the city of Eskridge, which I hope is what we all want. Unfortunately, what has been done seems to be the exact opposite, and it cannot continue. You must be leaders, and you must treat people with the respect and dignity that they deserve. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Clay.
Thank you, Clay. You are absolutely correct.
I know I am, but I don't think others here do.
Well, I would like to respond with, I was merely stating what I had been informed of. Before we,
Tim, I listened to the thing. I heard you say it, so that's fine.
well, sure, I
Own
did.
it.
I don't deny it.
Own it. I'm done.
I do
I don't
own it.
need to speak any further.
May I have my couple minutes?
Certainly.
Before we hired her, We had been instructed by the person who did our city clerk job for many, many years. And she instructed us that it was a part-time position. That's why we decided to hire someone as a part-time position. The clerk that was in between those two people told us it was a part-time position. That's what I was referring to. I was told it was a part-time position. I don't have time to come down here and see what she does.
Wasn't that clerk
Who told you
full
that?
time?
Pardon?
Wasn't she full time the whole time that she was working?
Who?
Lisa? Is that who you're referring to?
Yeah, and then she told us that she could have done it all in part-time. And so
you
could,
can, regardless, you know, I don't, it makes no difference to me what anybody else said. You know, the results that you've been getting and the value that I hope the value that you've been getting, but I don't think you care about that. Your issue is you want a part-time person and be done with it. So I guess you can have that. Merry Christmas.
Okay. And I have to agree with what your statement was. I'm just telling you, I have to agree. And you're absolutely right. We need to quit throwing digs at each other. We need to quit throwing digs at the public, whether they're the city of Eskridge residents or whether they're lake residents. And we definitely need to quit throwing digs at the employees.
I'm sorry that you all viewed that as a dig. I was trying to
Well, I'm
point
just
out
saying
what
that
we discussed
I'm just-
before.
I'm not picking on you as an individual. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just agreeing with what Clay says. This has been going on ever since I've been mayor, and I've been very lax in putting a stop to it. You guys know that.
I don't want to deny that there are several digs and jabs that are taken, but this was absolutely not intended as one of those moments because we were all in agreement at one time it was a part-time position. That's what I was referring to. We hired her as part-time. That we all decided that.
All right.
Everyone at this table. There was no
the knowledge at the time that that was stated that this is where we're gonna do it to start.
And I have no way of knowing any different, Clay.
I'm telling you, I do know.
I believe you do. I believe you know a lot more about it than I do.
Okay, let's thank you again.
I didn't mean to offend, and I do apologize for that. Sincerely.
But like I said, from now on, the digs have to stop. If I hear them, I'll hammer it. We'll stop it right away. Anybody else have public comments or concerns? Then I want to make one public comment about the Fall Festival. One of the best fall festivals I've seen since I've been here. I've been here 36 years. Thank you to Annie and her members of the park board that put this together, along with Stephanie Graham and the folks that she got together to make this thing a success. I don't believe if we ever took attendance that we would have had a situation prior to this weekend that would have exceeded what I saw out there Saturday. So thank you very much to make the 100th Eskridge Fall Festival a success that it was.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If this is the greatest one that's happened, why does Tim Wines want my wife off the park board who helped make it happen?
That's not a question for me to answer because I don't know anything about that, Jim.
Okay, well, I'm just repeating what a certain council member has told members on the park board regarding that. So I'm just curious.
Jim, I don't even know your wife. I know who
I know
she
it
is.
make it really curious as to why this has been said to me by multiple people.
I find that curious as well. I'd like to know what my reasoning.
All right,
Jim, I don't know your wife.
that's right. You don't.
Can this,
I don't know why that
can
would
this,
be.
does this discussion have to occur at the
I
council
didn't say
meeting?
it. I'm not involved in that.
Okay.
I'd be happy to talk with you later about it. I have no idea, Jim. That's a new one. I have no idea.
Anybody else? Okay. Jim, thank you for bringing that up as well. So Kelly, department reports.
It will be short. I'd like to announce to the public that I gave my notice of resignation last week, and my last day will be Monday, November 4th. And I would like to say that I will be sending an explanation as to my resignation, as well as concerns that I think each of you should be aware of. I've heard in the past that council members are not aware of the true reasons employees may have left, and I want to make certain that this is not the case with my resignation. So, thank you.
Annie, Park Board.
Well, one of the things I was going to touch on was Fall Festival and say thanks to everybody that volunteered and sponsored and participated and just came.
You're welcome.
And to you city guys for also, I know they mowed, I think you and Mike burned that ditch out. I'm sorry. The stream bed. I shouldn't call it a ditch ever. It's a bad thing. And Barry actually told me that he's been cleaning the bathroom out. So I'm
Yes.
very happy with that. But basically everybody that helped, even just like 5 minutes. If you showed up for 5 minutes, I'm thrilled to death. I'm not picky. But yeah, just to continue on what you were saying anyway, that I think it was a good event. I wish we had more attendees, but I think it's hard to get everybody when it's so busy in October, and that's the hardest about the whole thing.
It does seem to be getting bigger every year.
I think so. We're working on it. Our community development block grant is due on Friday. I think we're on track to finish it up and turn it in. Dee Dee and Brett Wagner and I are talking every day, so we're getting close and getting ready to submit that. I know off the top of my head, they think budgetarily we'll be able to do the mulch for sure, the bathroom remodel, all of the electrical mapping and installation, the stream bed, the 2 bridges, and the tennis court. I was hoping to get the lights in there too, and I'll still push for that if I can. So maybe we can piecemeal those into it if we get some extra breathing room in the budget. I think that's kind of the bulk of everything. And then some of the other stuff we can kind of do in smaller waves, like picnic tables and the stone benches. Those are a little smaller budget thing that we can try to get later with smaller grants. So I'm feeling good about it. I think it's going to go well. And then my last thing is the same day we're starting the match event from Kansas Rural Communities Foundation and Patterson Family Foundation. We're one of the, I think, 9 funds that are going for a dollar for dollar match. They're going to match us up to $10,000. Last year we actually went over $12,770, and they matched every penny of that. So they actually did give us more than the $10,000. So I'm hoping for that this year. We need about $25,000 to hit our $100,000 CDBG promise, basically. So that's the last kind of kick into this grant. So double grant time. Sorry, I'm going to be annoying, I'm sure. We're going to try to do a pancake feed on November 9th to do one of our donation days. I don't know if there's anything. Is there something going on? Okay.
No, I just that's fine. That's
I was
fine.
like, oh my God, tell
No,
me if there's
no.
a conflict, because we have not done anything yet. So we're meeting tomorrow to finalize those details, and then I'll have the flyer out by Wednesday or Thursday.
And where would that be held?
Probably the senior center, but don't quote me because I haven't talked to her yet. But I can't imagine it would be an issue. So we're gonna do a pancake feed. That's the goal. So the match grant is from November 1st through November 16th. You can donate by check this time. Last year it was like Venmo only. So we're very happy that she's allowing the checks to come in this time. People prefer that method a lot of the
What
time.
was the end date?
November 16th, which I think is a Saturday. So 1st through the 16th. They shortened it up a bit, so it wasn't going forever. I feel good about it. Hopefully we'll hit our goal. And I think that's it. Is there anything else that I can't remember? And we're going to carol in December, but I have no details on that. So, I'm good. I'm done.
I'm sure you'll keep us updated on the caroling.
Yes.
Okay, new city business is Schlegel's here. Conlon, the Schlegel. Conlon's. Robin?
I don't have any paperwork for you on 166 because that's something on, so. Anyway, it is, they pay for 2 standard dogs. And I did not know that at the time I visited the property, so I only did one.
Oh, shoot.
I just, yeah. So,
But they're second
but,
tier, so no.
yeah, the dog I did do is standard dog within the measurement with a lift. It's contained in those measurements. And a heck of a steep climb up and down to that dog. There's not a path or anything. It's very treacherous.
Yikes.
So you will go out and measure the second one then?
For sure.
I'll move to approve as long as that one meets approval from Robin's measurements.
Second that.
Motion to approve the transfer for Conlon to Schlegel upon acceptance of the proper size of the second dock by Brett, seconded by Jason. Any further comments, questions, concerns?
Last time we transferred a dock based on the dock being fitting the dimensions, and then we found out that it didn't fit and it was supposed to be brought in. What has become of that one?
420, is that 421?
Yeah, it's the next one on the
There
list.
is, they haven't done anything. It's still there. So we have spoke. Are they not going to attend it? I thought
Do
they
you
were
feel
going to
right
do
about
it.
transferring this one still?
What's that?
The last contingent,
He was asking you.
I will say.
I didn't know
I
who
just
was
said
all right,
contingent,
bring it.
and I have the minutes here and re-listened to the
Or do we wanna
meeting.
table it for the next meeting?
And it's the transfer for 421 East Flint Hills. T. Wines moved, seconded by Jay Heegert, to approve the transfer from Woodward to Ebert. The Eberts confirmed it would no longer be an Airbnb. Motion passed with B. Kimball abstaining because he did not get an answer to his question about the dock size before the vote. Mayor Cook stated, according to R. Baker's notes, it is standard dock size and it needs numbering on both sides of the dock. T. Wines asked the Eberts to make sure to get the docks numbered. T. Wines also stated he was informed there might be an overhang on the dock that makes it oversized.
And the overhang is what you're talking
Because
about.
in my original notes, it does state that there's an extension of 1 foot making the dock oversized. But we kind of sway, so, and that's why I did it that way. But it does state that.
What is the time limit that we give them? How long?
Like
No,
to bring it into compliance?
Yeah. Is there, do we have a,
There's nothing said.
Can I just pay for an oversized dock?
No.
Why? Man,
Because oversized docks are not permitted, and the only ones that are left are grandfathered in.
gotcha.
And if we allowed that, then everybody else would accidentally oversize their dock and then just pay the fee.
Okay. Well, it's a window, so it's possible they can do it. Maybe
I'll
a
retract
lesser
mine.
problem.
Your motion.
Yeah,
You want to restate it?
now I'm taking it all off the table.
So I would move that we table this until the next meeting where we can have appropriate documentation,
Dimensions.
dimensions and everything.
For the second dock.
I will second that.
What did you say, Brad? For the
We,
second
we,
one?
need- we need all the regular
For the-
information, pictures.
You
and
have
all
the
that
first
stuff.
one, but you
For
don't
the
have the
166.
measurements. You haven't measured the second one,
Right.
so when you get those, bring it back.
Do you want it on the first meeting or the lake meeting at the end of the month?
We'll just, I
Next
think
I'm
the next
confused.
meeting,
Next meeting. Doesn't
Next
take
meeting.
long
On
to
the
transfer
first
a
one,
dock.
Right, right.
166 Cedar
Yeah,
Circle. We
right.
want the dimensions on both docks before we make a decision.
the
Okay,
regular.
gotcha. But did we skip around here? Or
Yeah, we kind of went to one and went back to the
Okay.
others. So
I jumped ahead to 421 to use it as an example of why I didn't feel we should approve one based on a contingency.
Gotcha. Okay, I was lost.
And you were gonna send a second letter to them, right? Did we?
I spoke to them directly and they asked for the minutes. And that's when I reread and re-watched the YouTube after I sent them to them when I read what it said in the minutes.
Was there any contact after that then?
after they asked for it. No, I actually thought they were gonna be here. I did not contact them again.
All right, let's go back to the Schlegel, or the Conlon to Schlegel. We have a motion to table this to the next meeting, which will be around the 12th of November, not the 11th, since that's Veterans Day. We'll have to decide that later on. And pending more information from the lake compliance officer on the size of the dock.
It's Veterans Day.
I won't be here for that one.
Is that Columbus Day? Nobody cares about Columbus Day anymore.
Employees are, employees are off on
that day
Veterans
too.
Day.
Okay, so that motion was made by Jason. Jason, you made the motion.
I made the motion.
Get it off unpaid.
And Tim seconded. Any further questions, discussions, concerns on 166 Cedar? Those in favor of the tabling? Okay, that motion passes. Now you can finish talking about 421 East Glen Hills Drive. You want to table that one as well? See if we can get these folks in here to talk to us, or what do you want to do with that?
No, it's an offending structure. It needs to be brought into compliance.
Did we send a letter officially?
Two.
Two letters?
No, we have not. I haven't
Well,
sent.
you mean as far as the offending structure code, right?
We haven't sent any letter.
No letters. I
No
know.
letters.
Have you?
Not with the offending structure, verbiage.
I thought we were doing that last meeting. Wasn't that the?
We've reached out to them twice, telling them that it was oversized and they need to bring it back into a compliance, but we have not sent the
Verbally.
official thing saying you're now
Who
out of
sent it?
compliance. You have such and such time to come into or.
Sounds like
fine.
that's the next
Right,
one.
yeah, that's, it's in the code. It's all there.
We'll send a letter.
Do we need a motion for that?
No, it's not, it's the lake enforcement officers.
Okay.
Bailiwick, there's a whole code section about how you do it and what you say in it. So we're good to go.
Bailiwick. That's great.
Bailiwick, yeah.
I love it.
I haven't heard that one. You said
I don't think
I have the letter on the computer.
watching some.
I like.
Next up is the Lake Wabaunsee sign repair. Should have a copy of a work order in there.
There's a handful of bids on it.
The original bids we were
I saw
presented with,
three.
and
Are
then,
there more than three?
well, two from the same. One more.
I'm assuming these two are different versions.
Yeah, remember they
One
talked
is
about it.
a 2x, and one is a 4x
Two 4x12 by 16.
that they're gonna laminate
And
together.
four 2x12 by 16.
To the wood, because it's small.
Aren't they 4x12s now?
They are
Yes.
4x12 now.
That's what I prefer is the 4x.
It is literally double the cost for the lumber.
It's wild.
Because it's $592 for the four 2x12s and $1,076 for the two 4x12s.
I'd rather have one big chunk of wood out there than two pieces of wood glued together. I don't know if you're doing woodworking, but
That's, which that could be an option. I think they were just
Yeah, and that's
going
what,
off the two ones that the brackets were there to reuse the brackets to set them.
and this one's also for full boards.
one worker, company, whatever you want to say, give two bids. One was for 2x12s, one was for 4x12s.
And then
The other person gave a bid for 2x12s.
Right.
I still am a fan of
I
4x12s.
found it in two.
I think that'll last a lot longer. If you get a little crack in where they're laminated together and water gets in between them, it'll work its way in and rot them from the inside out.
Well, then you'll have a gap in there anyway, so it's gonna collect moisture and kill it. Then for the two big boards would be better. It is more expensive, but it'll last
It'll
longer.
last. The one we have out there has lasted many, many years.
Cousin has a, my cousin has a sawmill. in Birmingham. I never thought about it. Single piece.
Decisions, motions?
We've already delayed it.
So then I guess I'll move to accept the bid for 2 4x12s from Bosworth.
His writing.
Oh, Ridinger. Oh,
Why don't you give the total too?
This is who got the quote. She's the one that presented this to us.
so from Ridinger
And how much is
For the
it?
dollar.
for $1,307.
And I will second it.
Okay, motion to accept the bid from Ridinger for 1307 for the Lakeville Bunting repairs on the sign repair by Jason, seconded by Tim. Further questions or comments? Those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, next up is utility ordinance, unoccupied residential.
Did I ask to put that on there and then not have it? Exactly what I did. I don't have anything on it.
I was gonna
I didn't bring
say.
anything on it and I have anything on it. The weekend was a blur. I apologize. I totally forgot about it.
You want to make yourself a note and do it in November?
Absolutely.
Next meeting or the one after?
No, we can do the next meeting.
Sure about that?
Yeah. I got it covered. I promise I won't let you down this time.
12 for them because it's.
We haven't decided, but I think that's probably.
That's probably what it's gonna be. Yeah, we haven't decided that yet.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I won't be there then. So,
Will you be there on a Wednesday
Nope.
or a
What about
Thursday?
Monday?
Nope.
Oh, wait,
The following
allowed to
Monday?
do it Monday?
There won't be any city employees.
I don't see the need to do it on Veterans Day at all.
Sorry,
I
I
thought
got-
someone said it was, you're right, it is 11/11. I was thinking somebody said it was Columbus Day.
No, that's the one we
Joking
just
about
met on.
that.
He just said we just had a meeting on Columbus Day.
I wasn't thinking about the date.
That's why I take that week off too.
I won't be here.
Columbus Day.
I'm in at 11th hour.
Yeah, my kids still have school. Okay.
All right, other continuing business, 78 Lakeview Circle. Robin?
This is it.
There are no changes at 78 with the circle. Janet, I mean, it's the same as it was.
Wasn't he more concerned because he thought we were going to double charge him the dock?
Yeah.
So this one's probably done anyway, isn't it? He understood.
I thought, did we?
We didn't tell him to take anything out. We just said pay it or take it out.
Yeah, it said pay it or take it out. So if he has to take it out, he pays.
I mean,
Did we table it last time or did we vote on it?
wasn't
Trying to
anything to vote on.
Did the table
I
it?
thought that we decided that you're gonna pay for this, this, and this, and whatever. And then he asked if I take some of these items out before January 1, are you still gonna charge me? Well, no, we're not. Well, the things that have already been paid for this year, do I have to pay for those again? No, you don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was fine after that.
That's how I
think
thought
that
it
was
was.
the gist.
Yeah.
I think it's done, isn't it?
Yeah, so as long as he pays for those.
Right.
Additional structures and they're still there.
Right.
I think it's
Presuming he hasn't removed them.
And I'm sure if he removes one, he'll,
tell us.
yeah.
Callan, him to tell us.
I don't believe we need to take any action on that then, do we? Okay.
Okay, next up, in your packets, the Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal. It states what it's gonna cost the city. There was questions on it, concerns. Last time we got together and talked about it. So here it is in writing.
We had it last time in writing as well.
There's nothing to agree on or disagree on. It's what it is what it is.
Do we need to approve it or not?
No.
Okay.
No. You don't need to do anything with it. It's just basically for information unless you have something else you want to add with that. I can't think of why we would have to approve
Did you need
anything.
it?
As long as, I mean, Todd, I would probably be
Well, I
the
mean, you
proper
got-
one to say.
Well, I mean, this is, I mean, you don't, the plan renews now, right?
Right.
What day?
December 1st is the renewal date, but I have to have the signed approval and
Sign by
the
who?
paperwork. I can sign it.
Okay, well, let's just do this. The motion to authorize Kelly to renew the policy by signing.
I move to authorize Kelly to renew the policy by signing.
Second.
Motion by Annie, seconded by Jason to have Kelly approve the renewal for Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Any further questions or concerns? Those in favor?
I'm glad it's not a 30% increase anymore. Hopefully it continues to not be.
Okay, next up is the employee handbook.
Did anybody make those changes?
Not formally, I have a whole bunch of those changes.
I have the notes. I haven't had it written.
So do you want to push it to the next one?
I'm okay with that, and I'll volunteer to write them up if you guys want me to. I just could not do it this 2-week period. It was like no go.
It was a little crazy the last couple of weeks.
If you guys are all right with that,
I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with it.
Tim.
Yes, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
More than.
Okay. I volunteer as tribute.
We will get it done.
Employee handbook is
I'll come.
tabled to the 11/12/24
Messing with you.
meeting. To the next one we decide on. Housing Authority.
Carrie's not here to talk. She's sick tonight. So she was gonna come to ask the Housing Authority is working with Stephanie and Fern with that Seven Sisters murals that they're putting 7 places in Wabunsee County. They want one in Eskridge. And so there's a couple options for where to put them here along Main Street. And one of them is the side of the city building. So we just wanted to bring that up to everybody, get everybody's opinion on that. It's not for sure where it's going to be, but it is in the pool of options. Is everybody,
The side of what?
is anybody
This
dead
building,
set
right?
against
This
this
building?
one right here on the side? Is anybody dead against it as an option, or?
It's kind of hidden, but otherwise, if it was a bigger building.
It's not bad. I mean, it's as good a spot as any. The only thing I would see might be an issue is the flagpole might be in the way.
Mhm.
Dumpster's not. No, it's back room.
I was deep in thought. Were you talking about the mural?
Mhm.
Can you put the mural? I mean, you're painting. You, of all people, have brought up many times about sealing up your paint.
Yes, Tim, I have.
Isn't
And I
that
have my
bad?
own personal opinions, and how I would do something in painting on stone is never ever one of those things I would do. But I am severely outnumbered by a lot of other people, so. But I would never paint stone because you seal in moisture when it freezes and thaws. That's going to eventually
That
explode.
was my
the stone.
concern. I like the idea of it being right here, but I'm concerned about sealing the stone.
Right.
Is brick any better? Or is it the same thing?
It's the
Well,
mortar,
it's funny you
really.
say that, and it's funny he says that, because my suggestion was the post office because it is brick,
It's just a cinder block building.
but it's that yellow brick, and
And they
it would
always
be,
cinder blocks.
my opinion for the mural. But
However,
They would,
we would have to get permissions to have
The
that.
federal government permission.
Right.
can we look around a little bit? But I mean, no, I don't have strong opinions at this point. I haven't looked, scouted.
Okay.
I'm excited to do it. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah. And then the Housing Authority did get a survey together and walked around at the Fall Festival and caught some people there. We need to decide how we're going to do the rest. We didn't ask people to sign their name. We just asked them to put their address so that if we choose to be walking door to door to catch everybody, we're not stopping at the same address. I have a blank copy. I'm going to print off a bunch of copies tonight. So anybody here that hasn't done one personally, I'll give you one.
Like
and
one of those surveys, Brett, too.
you can take it home and you can drop it off in the box out here or whatever and have it put in my box. And
Would you like me to pass out some at the store? I'd be glad to do it.
we absolutely just make sure you tell them they don't have to put their name, just their
Yeah.
address in town. That
That's
way
okay.
we don't double up.
And
I'll
then
also
we'll
rewrite
have it
this
over
list.
here
It's
today.
ADHD.
Brett, before you move on too far. Let's go back to the mural.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody has an artist in mind, but the girl who painted 2 murals that are no-show area, I work with her mom, and she said that her daughter would be delighted
Which
to
ones
maybe
did
have
she
this
do?
opportunity.
Do you-
Do you know the area very well?
Yeah.
Because I do not.
Senior photo, hotspot.
I think you go over the
You don't know?
Kansas Avenue.
No, I know Noto. Do you know which murals she painted? There's
No,
a
that's what I'm
bunch.
saying. Oh, are there?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not.
Oh,
I can
okay.
find out.
Okay, that'd be cool if you did. I
We're
just want to,
really artsy and have a lot of.
because it goes, they're all over the place. Yeah,
It is cool.
they're all impressive. I think. It's a cool
Whichever
spot. You
one
should
is
go over.
really loud would be the one that.
There's a bunch of elephants and sunflowers on teal, and there's a flying pig. There's a lot of. It's a cool.
Anything else, Brett?
No.
I
I
have
like
something
the
for the
buttercrests.
mayor
They're not
council
really
concerns
They can be a good
area.
spot too.
It's
Kind of
touched up.
a call back to the,
We're moving on to the mayor council concerns now, comments.
this is kind of a callback to the Lakewood Buncy sign repair. The group that wants to tend to the flower bed in front of there, I spoke with one of the members just yesterday, and she was asking me where that went. Are we going, no action was taken. We didn't give them the reins to do that. It was my understanding that we were waiting until we figured out what we were going to do with both the sign and with that water.
Yeah, because I think she said they couldn't actually. Well, and it's going into winter now anyway, but they couldn't really do anything until we knew what we were doing because we don't want to rip the bed up.
Can I ask Jim a question about that while you're here? Talking about somebody once said, I think at the last meeting, that there was valves out there that can be turned on, timers to let the water run. Do you know anything about that?
There's some kind of old water system out there.
So it's not
It's
a
an
working one.
older, automated sprinkler system.
Didn't Stafford put that in?
That was before my time.
Yeah.
I was
I
gonna
think
say,
Stafford
I think
put it
this
in.
is
As
old
far
enough
as-
and it wasn't in.
As far as you know, it's not
cities.
working.
As far as I know, it is not.
Okay, and that'd be a consideration too on that. Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you. Would it be hard for the city employees to do something, or should we contract it out to somebody else?
Wouldn't know until we looked at it, honestly.
I also don't think that tree that they're out there talking about, when they were talking about it need to come out, I think that's pretty much close to its height.
She said she looked it up and it was actually going to be a lot taller and bigger than that.
And I
But I
personally
don't
think
know.
she's mistaken on the kind of tree it is, but that's something we need to find out about too before we tear it down.
I would think Stafford would put the right kind of tree. That's what they do, isn't it?
I would think they'd
Or
put
is
the
it
right
just-
kind of tree in, yeah.
Assuming it's not a volunteer.
Well, that's who donated it from the rumor mill anyway.
The tree itself being a volunteer to
Yeah.
be planting itself there
By a squirrel.
by a squirrel.
No, it was planted intentional. It
Was it?
was donated. Yeah,
Oh.
that one was. We talked about it pretty extensively, but
I have enough volunteer trees in my yard.
I don't know. We've been told their trees are a certain tree, and then we go and look at them and find out it's another tree, and
Mhm.
so it goes.
But just
Goes
something we
around.
should consider, find out for sure before we go cut it down.
I know.
Well, they look
We
totally
should
different.
know. We should know.
Does anybody else have anything under mayor council concerns before I talk?
Oh, you-
I have a quick question. If we wanted to make changes to city code, how does that work?
Well, I mean, there's two ways. If you just had one thing or a couple things, then you would just do an ordinance amending those sections. If you want to do the whole thing, a recodification, that's done occasionally. Usually what happens is you hire a company that does it, which is they basically take the old code, revise it, put it into a new format, and they check everything and have you guys review it and redo it all. I think the last one you guys did was, is it now 2012?
Yeah,
Wasn't that
I think it
long
was
ago?
2017, if I remember
that's
correctly.
about right.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Huh?
When was Wayman?
20, well, that's
Was it that long ago?
2015, 16.
Yeah. We had to have all those ordinances, they went through and got rid of the old things.
Yeah, it's
and-
2017 is the recodification.
I don't think I'm thinking of anything that in depth, but definitely some.
It was like it was 10 years.
But then you
ago.
just need to,
In
Say what
2017,
the-
we paid a professional company to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that.
I forgot who that is. That
History.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
no, it's actually it's like associated with the let's see, Kansas League of Municipalities. They have a arm that does that. I think it's actually the league. Yeah, you can have there's Ransom does it. And there's a couple other places that do it. So if you want to shop around, but I mean, if you know what you want to change, then what you do is you copy or pull out the thing and revise it and tell me, and if you guys all agree it's a worthwhile thing to put into an ordinance, I'll do it. The only trick being is if you do it that way, you can only have the one subject, which means that you can't put both a dog ordinance and a building ordinance in the same ordinance.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to have one ordinance be the revisions to the animal code, and second
Another
ordinance
ordinance
be the building code.
I ran into a handful of things while we were going through the employee handbook, and I was referring back and forth between city code and the city handbook, and there were things that don't jive.
Really?
Yeah.
State isn't so.
So I was like, we're already in the process of modifying the employee handbook, but there are some things that I think that should probably change in the code, and I'll try and get that
Some
ironed
of
out.
those will have antecedents in state law
That's
codification.
why I'll come pick your brain more. And then I had one other question. Who, because it's come up recently, who has access to city records right now? Like who has a key to the room?
To the
Who has
room?
access to what?
City records.
To the room?
So the clerk's records, yes.
Is it locked up?
It should be.
Well, that's why I had locked my office.
I don't have access to it, I can tell you that.
Lisa has a key and I have a key.
So according to our city code, she's the only one who should have a key. If Lisa has records that she needs access to, she can ask the clerk for those records, or she can carry her own records as the treasurer.
Was Lisa ever the assistant city clerk or designated assistant?
I don't think she was designated as assistant
No,
city clerk,
not
but she
since
can't
I've
be
been here.
because she hasn't done the drug testing. And we have an already designated assistant city clerk.
Who is that?
Sam.
Kid.
Yes. Because she just went through drug testing and all
I
of that
don't
stuff.
think she's been designated. I think she's just a part-time help to fill in as needed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an appointed position, but it is an appointed position. So I
Right.
probably need to formally say if she's the assistant. I mean, I imagine you can hire somebody just to answer phones, but they shouldn't have access. They're not bonded. They're not.
Right, and that's kind of the issue is we have uncontrolled access to city records because we have unauthorized people with access.
And by that, you mean Lisa
Yes,
is the only one.
so she should not have a key. Because it is a sensitive record storage, we have PII, we have other city documents that should not be out to the public. And we have recently had an unauthorized removal of records from City Hall, from the records room. They were put in Tim's cubby so that we could look at old logbooks. And it's a minor infraction, but that is
An infraction.
an infraction nonetheless. And there is no difference from that step to a major record loss.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
with all the stuff that we've been talking about, firewalls and cybersecurity, we are failing in the physical security aspect if we have too much access.
I will say that I was told that what you were talking about, the logs were found in this desk in her office right here, not in the city clerk's office.
That's not what we were told at the time.
Well, what information do these logs have?
They were just logbooks, old logbooks from maintenance guys.
Well, I mean, I think the guys did the Open Records Act.
Right, and if you
Somebody-
follow the rules of the Open
Yeah.
Records Act, you can gain access to them.
Well,
But they still are supposed to be
well, I
secure.
guess that's the question. You want the
I think the point
city
is to have
council
a
members.
paper trail, right?
There should be a paper trail when
Access.
people check these things out.
Right.
And the code the code says the clerk is responsible for those records and should secure them.
That's fine.
And it can be available for open records requests, but those are her records for all intents and purposes that she's to secure.
Mhm.
So if we have unauthorized personnel with access to those records, that needs to go away.
Another thing to think about too is when I was in medical records, if people requested public records by hard copy, we should charge for that. Do we have that?
I think we had a fee.
Yeah.
I think I remember
Okay.
seeing a fee structure.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, there's either that's in the code or there's a separate thing that you approve that says what they charge for copies and what they charge for research.
We would charge people for copies?
Sure.
For hard copy, yeah, you're
We charge 10 cents a page.
yeah,
and
you're giving them, I
And
mean,
you-
resources that we pay
They own
for.
it, right?
No, they don't,
What do you mean they own
Why
it?
don't they?
because they don't own the copies.
If you send them an email version, I don't think that's an issue,
There's-
right?
Well, I mean, there's research that you can charge. I mean, that says you can charge the research time to find the documents
Yeah.
and a copy charge to copy because it's paper. And
Call your
it's cost
doctor's
of the
office
city.
and ask for
Every
your.
I don't
city
own
has
that
it.
doctor's office.
Huh?
I don't own that doctor's
Oh, you're
office.
saying
But if you're
'cause we're
asking for a copy of
public
your own medical
entity.
records,
However, we're
No, you're not.
recouping the cost of providing those
Well,
copies.
the
That's all it
individual
is.
citizen doesn't own the city records. They don't own paper. They don't own that. They don't get ownership of it.
Am I hearing you say that if you get records sent to you by email, you want to charge for that too?
No, I
No,
don't
that's
charge.
not what I
charge
said.
of
I
research.
can't always hear you
They
because
would
I got
charge,
tinnitus.
there'd be a charge for research.
Yeah.
If you say,
So that
find me
makes sense.
this document, and they have to spend an hour looking for it, that's charged.
and I think that was, I did remember seeing something about that in the code, but I don't know if numbers were in there or not. And they were, it was probably one of those things where it says you charge for these things as, identified.
So
Paper and ink.
I will get that other key back.
One last thing. I spoke to the person, do you remember when the rural water district north here came in here saying they needed to extend their contract? And did we ever finalize that? I don't think we did.
They called and wanted to be on the next meeting on November 11th. I let them know that we were going to have to change the date because of Veterans Day, and I would let them know when the next meeting is. So they are asking to be on the next agenda for your next meeting.
Let's make sure we have all that info, like if they're asking for more money for more
What
water.
they need to do, they're getting ready to do a project, and they need to guarantee that they're gonna have water in order to do this project. They can't guarantee that because the contract right now goes till 27, and they need, it's essentially a 40-year contract. that
So
we
it's the same
constantly-
contract?
I believe that's what they're
Well,
gonna do.
they want
We'll see.
more, they want more water than we have designated in the
Right.
existing contract.
And I think we already told them that we couldn't provide more water.
Exactly.
I don't know
Is
if
that the
anybody
deal?
actually
Yeah.
said that.
I don't think we said
That's the
no.
deal with a lot
I
of
don't
water
think we said
districts is
no.
we can't pump them more.
I did tell him, I said, we need to know what your demands are and find out if we can provide that.
And then if it's the same rate, shouldn't we be raising it? I mean, they shouldn't be paying the same that they've been paying for the
No,
last
I
40
think it
years, right?
steps up.
There's a
Well, there's
formula.
already, there's
There was
already
a
a
formula.
formula
There was a
in
formula.
play.
A
in the
guidance
contract.
formula, but that doesn't mean that we can't want more.
Right. I just mean there was a formula in it.
We
for
change it.
adjusting.
Their rate changes the beginning of every year.
As does the other two.
Mhm.
Right, all three of them do.
They're somewhat different constructions of the way that the numbers are
Wish
arrived.
for something that's good with the gas rate.
I mean, that's wholesale, so. But they do need more, and I think that my understanding from talking to Mike is that they don't have it available, or they can't guarantee it without reductions of somebody else's.
The second, you're right.
Yeah, reduction. I mean, somebody else, the other two entities can say they've reduced their requirements and agree to that in a contract reduction. Or you guys plan to improve the current system so that it can handle increased amount.
And I think the only way to improve the current system is to build a new one.
Yeah,
Sure.
Right.
It only takes one thing.
I think there's, is there not, Jim?
Lots of one
There's
things.
plans on that, is there not? I don't know what they are. We're talking 3 or 4 more years down the road. Does that
Yeah,
sound
it's not
right
a,
too?
it's not a quick one.
I think the plan is just to move it closer to the
I think so far the first step is design,
Well,
and that's the grant they've
design,
applied for.
yeah, the design and the grant would be a USDA style situation, probably.
Right, and that's what.
And they'll
we have
take into
for.
account future growth when they do all that.
No, that's the idea. And that would, the capacity would be enough hopefully to cover increases for the city and increases for Water One and the other two as well. It's necessary.
Move to adjourn.
Anybody?
I thought.
Yeah,
that's-
Tim's always quick to move to adjourn and we're not done. Because I got something to say
I
too.
just have something.
I wanted to bring up the barracks. There was a cottonwood tree that had fell that was beside one of, or in front of one of the barracks, and it had fell on the church. It's all been cleaned up now. But the gigantic stump that's still on our property is still there. And it's probably good one of our employees are here because is that like do you know which one I'm talking about? Is that one that's attainable for us to do ourselves, or
I don't know if we're skid loader or lift.
okay?
Is that giant hole one you're
Yes,
standing in?
but it's like right next to the front of his place, and it's not.
Is it big enough for a totem pole?
No, no.
No.
It
Bunch of
went.
totem
It
poles.
went.
They
Oh,
ripped the roots out.
I stopped. Dolly. I
The
stood
stump's
in
there,
hole
but the stump's
with my arms side to
Not
side,
the correct.
And I was waist deep in hole.
that was
Maybe I don't want a
nice
cottonwood tree in my
I don't
yard.
know if we had-
I guess what I
Good
don't
firewood.
understand
First
about
thing in the
that,
morning.
what I don't understand about that situation was the storm brought it down. It hit the church, did damage to the church. Somebody's insurance took care of that property on the church building. Why wouldn't they take care of that stump that came down with it?
It's not on
Yeah,
church
well-
property. From
It
what I
probably went right up to
understand,
the line.
they sawed it because it was
Oh no, the whole thing is ours.
completely over, and they sawed it off at the stump at like the property line. When they did that, the stump fell back into the hole, and then they've cleaned up everything all around, but the stump is still there.
Is this right of way?
Yeah, it's literally in front of the front
Well, I
of
mean,
his
when
barracks.
you say it's on our property, you're
Yes.
saying it's in the road right of way.
How
Yes.
tall is it now?
Where is the tree?
Chest size, chest height.
Probably. I
On
wouldn't
fire?
know the location.
I know a guy that carves
No, too close to the building.
So we own all that land?
Oh,
Right, so none of it's.
But we don't know any of it.
We don't,
Right.
yeah, you don't, I mean, owning the land is, you own a right of way. It exists so that people can drive on it or walk on it or travel on it. It's not, you own to the center of the earth. And there's the usual ordinances that they have to take care of it to the center line of the road. There's no improvements to it, or at least to the road.
And I don't think that tree stump's hindering the traffic going down
Not to
past
go
that
back in its
barracks.
hole.
The tree didn't. Why would the stump? If it's.
That's what I'm saying.
Do I understand it went right back to where, as if it was still growing?
But it didn't flop back in the hole. Don't get that wrong. It's not sitting like this and all of a sudden plop, it's right back up again. It's still laying down like that.
that would be cartoonish if it just stood itself back.
I think you
I've
need
seen it happen.
10
Yeah,
Paul
we-
Bunnians to chop it up.
Yeah, it's a big.
It's a big tree stump. That's why I said I don't understand why the insurance company didn't take care of that when they came out to take care of the damage to the church. Are you looking at it up top?
Yeah, try it.
Pack of 10, all right.
Well, if you haven't seen
Gotta
it
be a
and
good
you have time to
idea.
go see it in the next 2 weeks, try to go look at it. Because like I said, they pay us rent, and that is part of what they're paying rent for. So I think we should do something to get rid of that stump. I mean, we've done it everywhere else. Whether we have to hire somebody to do it, we've done that before.
I know a guy.
what barrack is it in front of?
The one right next to the church.
That was a big tree.
Yeah, it was.
Does anybody else have any comments? Well, we can get back to Todd. If not, I'll
Yeah,
move
go
on.
ahead.
Okay, let's talk about the next meeting, November 11th. That is Veterans Day. And I'm going to propose we change it from Veterans Day to the next day, just November 12th.
Works for me.
I can do that. That's fine. So we need a motion to adjourn the meeting from November 11th to the November 12th.
You can call it change the meeting.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion to change the November 11th meeting to November 12th by Brett, seconded by Jason. Comments, questions, concerns, those in favor? Okay, we're changing it. The other thing I want to talk about is the Flint Hills Regional Council met last Friday, a week ago. Double check that time. We met on the 18th, so it was a week ago Friday. And in that meeting, it was announced that Janet Williams, who will be here on November 12th to talk about this particular issue, this particular thing. However, it was announced that Eskridge is on the dartboard, so to speak, to get a $750,000 100% paid for grant
For what?
for the IGA building, since it's owned by the city. This grant,
Say 750.
750,000. And that's going to take care of the architecture, plans, everything like that, cleaning it up, filling in the basement, remodeling, restructuring the walls, re-roofing it. And I'm going to throw this out there. I'd love to see the city hall put in that building.
Amen.
It'd be big enough to hold meetings, and we won't have to ever go down to Senior Citizen Center ever again. And we'll know more. I'll know more on November 12th, as will you guys.
Lounge.
Yeah, we could have a
Give us a good
hole in, I
Christmas
even mentioned we've got a bar
bonus.
next door. We can put a hole in the wall and we can serve drinks while we're having our county city
Nobody's
council
gonna have a
meetings.
bar next to City Hall. Are you crazy?
You say we don't have?
When you finally get a full-time cop, they'll run them off just like they did in the.
Am I the only one that would like to see a second story?
For 750? Good luck.
What do you mean, second
A
story?
second floor.
Over there, we've talked about that, and they mentioned that we could easily get the building structured for a single floor if we don't want the basement. My original thought was take the basement and turn it into a community shelter.
It floods all the time.
It's not deep enough to do that.
However, I was told there was all types of tunnels throughout the city of Eskridge that I wasn't aware of, and it floods all the time. So that's nixed.
Till
So
you-
don't
we
jump
tell
to
you own
conclusions,
building.
folks. Yeah, don't
We-
jump to conclusions, okay? But
We could step down when you come in the door and lower that first floor. I think that would be kind of cool.
you know, I mean,
ADA
It's
You
not
put a
good
ramp
for
in
people
there.
that can't walk.
ramps are
We-
just extra work.
anyway, the second story idea came about because there's also grants that can help the Eskridge Housing Authority put apartments up there. And we could rent, the housing authority, not the city, could rent apartments. And since the city only owns the building, we don't really own the airspace, quote unquote, above the building. So that would be a totally different thing.
Or
That's
you can
not
also
part on
put an
that.
apartment in the bank down there. There's that bank.
Yeah, but that's
Boston
not, we don't own that.
I understand that,
But-
but I'm just planting the seed.
Well, if we ever
It's
owned the building.
actually
Convert
talked
this
about, but
building.
it's
The
a 10-year
point is- the
level
point is-
with private ownership that's involved, so that.
The point is, this building is owned, the grant is only for city-owned properties right now.
That's good.
Right now. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be others. The architect was here last Wednesday, and I spent an hour and a half with him looking at that building and two others downtown. And every one of the buildings that we looked at are fixable, repairable. And the walls will be set and fixed up so that the neighboring businesses aren't hurt by it. If nothing, they will be
Did you look at
repaired.
any of the businesses that are already damaged from the building?
I didn't have access to them. We just went inside the IGA store and treaded water very carefully, so to speak.
Well, that might be a good idea to get the architect to come back and look at those buildings so you
Well,
can
he'll-
assess what damage
They
yours
will
has
be,
done.
they will be back again. And I'll let you know when that happens, Brett, so you can open your door for them so they can get in there and see what's
So-
going on in there.
The Flint Hills Regional Council is going to help us apply for that, is what you're saying?
But yeah, Jana Williams will be here on the 12th and she'll talk about that $750,000 grant. She'll have more information because it's not really supposed to be talked about until the 1st of November.
Okay.
But she said it's okay if I talk about it tonight.
Ready for the answer on the tree?
Yes.
It actually is your guys' to pay for.
All right.
13,307.
All right. We need to
We're looking at.
we need to get bids to move it out because I don't think our employees can do it. And I'll back them. We don't
I
have the
think it's
equipment.
just-
I don't think we do, right? Stall's not big enough for that kind of thing.
We don't have the equipment to get it done. And if they use their chainsaws, it'd take them, what, 3 weeks to a year? Not because they don't have time, because it's so dang big and
Yeah.
it'd be a hassle to mess with.
Well, I suspect once it's removed, there'll need to be some dirt all back in there. 'Cause there'll be a hole that needs filled.
We'll take care of that too. Putting in the dirt and re-graveling would be easy compared to removing the tree stump. So that is all I have.
I had one more thing, and it's just because nobody's said anything this whole entire time, which is we have a resignation in that will be in effect before our next meeting. So what do we have in place? Like, we need to talk about that. We need to advertise.
And that was put in the paper today. For city clerk. And they have until December 6th to get their resumes in.
Do we put a wage on that or just? Oh,
Did we put it in the paper as a wage? No, not yet. I didn't want to do nothing like that until you guys decided how you wanted to handle that. And speaking of which, for this slides by me, Kelly, I want to thank you for what you've done.
thank you.
It's going to be very difficult to get new people to continue doing this sort of thing for sure. No doubt about that.
Would you
I don't want you to go.
Hey, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, what would keep you? Kill Rich back. Probably not this meeting.
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second. I was waiting for Tim to jump back on the ball.
Good job.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Brett, seconded by Jason. Those in favor? We are adjourned.
At the meeting Wednesday night, Carrie said she was gonna send me a PDF.
Did she send it to you?
I haven't seen it.
I'll tell her because she had two that she was working with, and she sent me the opposite one that we're actually doing. So it's good you didn't get that one, but I'll tell her that. Like, there was only a couple differences in what you could circle for like 1 2 pounds, so she
Come on,
made
step in front.
I'll tell her.
I can't remember what I think.
Yeah, what you saying is what's the problem?
What we all say.